Welcome to Season 2 of The Animal Highlight. This season is focused on animals and sound and has been extracted from Season 4 of the Animal Turn podcast, which was originally aired in 2021. In this season, I'm joined with a co-host, and I'm delighted. It's Hannah Hunter, who's a friend and colleague of mine from Queen's University. Hannah is a PhD candidate in the Geography Department at Queen's University and an active member of the Sonic Arts of Place Laboratory at Queen's University, which is also a sponsor of this season. Her research explores the intersections of animals, sound, and extinction, and Hannah is particularly interested in the intersection of how we can build relationships with distant and lost beings through sound, and how sound might be a potent force for representing and challenging the fourth mass extinction. In today's episode, we're focusing on not one, but two spiders. Hello, Hannah. Welcome back to the Animal Turn podcast.
Thank you.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about spiders.
Yep.
So
I was terrified. I was so afraid of spiders. I love animals, but I got to say, like spiders, I see how beautiful they are, but I still struggle with. I don't know how good I'd be at holding a spider.
No, yeah, me too. I, especially doing research for these two spiders we're going to talk about, I did kind of recoil a little bit from some of the pictures. Amazing, beautiful animals, but I wouldn't want to be like hanging out with them, you know?
Yeah, but they really are super impressive and and just incredible. And like with all the animal highlights you've done, the more I kind of learn about these animals, the more I'm just like, they're so impressive. And I think we don't have to like them all. We just need to respect them, right? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sure some of them don't like us either, so it's okay.
But they do good work. Like increasingly now I see spiders in about my house and I'm like, you keep doing your work because they're like, you do you, spider. So anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, hopefully this will make you find them even more interesting. So
I'm sure. So which spiders are we talking about?
So first we're going to talk about orb weaver spiders, who are very beautiful spiders who are related to, they're kind of a similar spider that you would find in Charlotte's Web, you know, the spider in Charlotte's Web.
They're huge, right? They're really big.
Yeah, they got sort of big kind of bulbous bodies.
I saw them in Botswana when I was doing field work in Botswana. They were everywhere. Yeah, they're impressive.
They're also impressive sonically, not so much for the sounds they make, but how they hear. So a recent study by researchers at Binghamton University as well as Cornell University found that orb weaver spiders use their webs to capture sounds. Wow. So they refer to this as the spiders outsourcing their hearing. So as in the spider's hearing isn't constrained to their body, but they outsource it. So the thin silk strands of a web act as, quote, hyperactive acoustic antenna. And because they're so thin, they move in response to sound-induced air particle movements.
Wow.
So as the kind of a prey might approach, the sound will travel through the air, and that will literally move the silky web. So the spider will then pick up on the movement of the web through their sensory organs in their claws that are at the tip of their legs. So these claws are also the same thing that hold on to the web, and they kind of take up the movement, and that's how the spiders hear.
Spiders have claws?
They're kind of teeny tiny things that because if you see a spider on on a web in the wind, it doesn't blow away, right? So
I thought it was like sticky. I thought it was like sticky hair. I'd never thought of spiders as having claws. Like it's a whole different. That's a whole.
I'm not sure if all spiders have claws, but these spiders at least have claws.
Okay.
But they're very like they're sensorial organs, so they're kind of multi-purpose. So by listening in this way, so through their webs, the researchers say that the spiders don't only outsource their hearing, but they're also able to supersize it. So their webs are up to 10,000 times greater than the spider itself, as in the surface area, not the actual web. And what's cool about this is usually us organisms are pretty much stuck with the hearing apparatus that we're given. But orb weaver spiders can adjust their hearing apparatus or their webs according to their needs. So if their web is damaged, they can recover it by weaving a new one. And also in theory, not necessarily the case that they do this, they could kind of tune their hearing by making their webs differently. So by making it tighter or looser, or something in order to hear different frequencies and things like that.
It kind of makes sense because, I mean, you say us organisms or like as humans, we're kind of restricted to the hearing apparatuses we have, but we make earbuds and satellites, and we're using satellites to hear out into the middle of the universe. Is there a middle to the universe? I don't know. But, like I think about the shape of a satellite and then the shape of a spider web, and actually it starts to, there seems to be some synergy there, I think, somehow in terms of the shape and how sound is captured. And I don't know much about kind of sound and sound waves and stuff, but that's a really, because you see spider, like I always used to see spider webs move in the wind and think, oh, shame, like their house is moving, but maybe this is all part of the strategy and how they interpret and understand the world, which is really pretty cool.
Yeah. And so while I was researching this, I also came across another kind of spider. And these are the ones that gave me the heebie-jeebies a little bit. They're called Ogre-Faced spiders. And they're called that because they look like ogres. They look a lot different than your kind of average household spider. So they look like stick insects. They're kind of these long, thin spiders. And rather than having 8 eyes, they have these 2 huge eyes at the front of their face. And that's, you gotta look these up. They're pretty crazy looking. And also I was watching a video of them, and they kind of perfectly camouflage themselves during the day. They're nocturnal, so they're really hard to find. But, and also different from your average spider is they do weave webs, which they sit upon, but their main way of catching prey, it's not kind of this passive, like sitting there waiting for the prey to come, but rather they have these 4 front legs within which they create a kind of smaller fuzzy web. And then they have this kind of web between their 4 front legs, and they propel themselves forward towards prey. So this web acts as kind of like a net or a sticky baseball glove. And then they kind of capture the prey that way. And so I found a study which absolutely wildly turns out to be by a friend of mine. I had no idea. Someone I go climbing with at Cornell called Jay. Anyway, he did this really cool study that found that because of these huge eyes, they were mostly thought to capture, see their prey that they then propel themselves towards through sight. But sometimes they don't propel themselves forward, but they go backwards. And this movement is described as a ballistically rapid overhead back twist.
Sick.
Or like this ninja backflip that they do to capture prey from behind. And obviously, because their eyes are forward, the researchers believed that these relied on audio cues, and they found that this maybe was the case. And again, the auditory sensors for this are at the tips of their legs. So they kind of hear through their legs, and then they backflip with these webs in between their legs, and they capture prey in that way. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
And it gives, I think when we first started talking about these animal highlights, I remember actually coming across, I can't recall which spider it was, but that there was research coming forward that spiders can hear through their legs. And I remember saying to you, whoa, this gives a whole different meaning to the concept of sound walking, right?
Like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, because we do sound walks and we walk with our ears and stuff. But if you if you take that as a method, I suppose, and try to think about how other animals sound walk, spiders sound walk and jump and backflip, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I might be having some nightmares about these like sticky baseball gloves coming at me.
I looked them up right now as you were talking, and they're rather, I mean, okay, the whole body, I could see, it's almost crab-like. It makes me think of those are they called king crabs? Those like crabs, those deep sea crabs. So the body looks a lot like that, and the legs are a bit spooky, but the face, I mean, there's something about big eyes that just make me go, oh, oh, so cute.
Yeah, they look like slow lorises or something with those kind of, They are
rather gorgeous. And just how incredible and miraculous the world is that they're doing all of this at kind of this small scale that we don't even consider 90% of the time. So it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for an amazing animal highlight.
It was really fun.
Thank you to Animals in Philosophy, Politics, Law and Ethics for sponsoring the Animal Tone podcast. Thank you also to the Sonic Arts Studio and the Sonic Arts Place Laboratory, who were sponsors for the 4th season of the Animal Tone podcast that was focused on animals and sound, where, of course, these animal highlights were extracted from. A big thank you also to Hannah Hunter for co-hosting this season of the Animal Highlight with me. This episode was produced by myself, edited by Christiaan Mentz, and the logo and episode artwork were created by Rebecca Shen. This is The Animal Highlight with me, Claudia Hirtenfelder.